Hello everyone, Recabilly here. Today I have something pretty cool to show you. Something that I've been trying to do for a little while, but I couldn't figure it out. I'm sure somebody has figured it out before, but I decided I wanted to make a video on this because it is just really cool. This is a grappling hook without any pressure plates required. So my goal is to get from here to over there, going through this obstacle. So if I go over here, aha, yes, I landed here, perfect. And I'm sure you saw the scoreboard, but let's ignore that for now. We'll go down here, awesome, and let's see, perfect, nice. Oh man, we're almost there. Lovely, and boom, we made it. We did it. Yay. Alright, let me go ahead and explain what the heck is going on here and how this works. Okay, so I'm looking at this set of commands, and before you start judging that it seems like it's a lot of commands for such a simple trick, well, there's a couple things that need to go into it. I have two different scoreboards. I have one called Bobber and one called Bobber Hit. So the Bobber, let me just set that on the sidebar. So scoreboard, objective, set display sidebar, Bobber. The Bobber just decides whether or not there is a bobber in the world. So you can see it on the side. It sets the score to 1, and that's a random UUID decided by the game. So you can see it gets set to 1 whenever you cast your line, and that is the bobber. And we also have one called Bobber Hit, which you saw briefly as I hit the ground. So if I shoot, Bobber Hit is now set to 0. So while it's in the air, it is set to 1. When it lands, it is set to 0, and I am teleported. So that is basically how it works. In fact, I don't want to go all the way over there for that stupid cow. I'm going to make my own cow right here. We can also right click on cows and start riding them around. And this is simply because the bobber is not being deleted. I have it set so that if the player right clicks, and when you get teleported to the bobber and it detects that there's a bobber right next to you in 0 radius, it basically kills the bobber. Now there's a chance that this will happen, that it will get stuck inside the entity, and there's no way for you and the entity and the bobber to be in the same block, so it kind of flips out and teleports you wherever, and the cow just kind of runs around like crazy. It's awesome. You can't look around though because it's constantly teleporting you, but you can just right click and get off the cow and he'll calm down. I can go over some of these commands for you, I suppose. So this is just the score testing, or setting the score of any entity that is not a player within the radius of 1 to Bobber 1. Now you're thinking, wait a second, wouldn't that mean that that cow would be a bobber, and a pig and a sheep and anything would have that score? Yeah, that is why I do this. Scoreboard players reset at E type equals cow. So in this case, I'm doing it for all the, or most of the common mobs, none of the hostile mobs, but basically I'm just resetting their score so we don't have to worry about them being considered bobbers anymore. And if I wanted to have a map with a bunch of different mobs and monsters, then I would have to do this for every mob that would be in that world. So not a big deal, but it's something to keep in mind. Now up here, we have an execute at E, who's basically the bobber, and it detects if there is air below it. And then it sets its score, Bobber Hit, to 2. So when it's in the air, we see Bobber Hit is set to 1, and that is because we are constantly... Is that it? No, that's not it. Is that it? Yes. We are constantly removing 1 from the score bobber hit on all of the bobbers. I'm saying bobber a lot in this video, and it's starting to sound weird. So we're removing 1 from the score constantly, so if it's set to 2, it will at least be 1 always. And then once there is no air below the bobber, it allows it to set the score to 0, which then teleports the player to the entity whose bobber hit is equal to 0. Once the player is in the same radius or same block as bobber hit 0, then it basically just kills the entity. So yeah, no more having to worry about the bobber. So as you can see, I don't have to like right click again after I land to pick it up, it just does it for me. The downside to this is it kind of turns you around. Most of the time it's directly behind you, sometimes it's a little up, sometimes it's down. It's pretty weird. Yeah, there's no way to just like right click on the floor or anything because it doesn't let you face the same direction, unfortunately. It would be nice if, okay, this is getting into Mojang suggestion kind of thing, but it would be nice if the only way that the player is facing the same direction as the mob, or vice versa, is if the command blocks designated it, or specifically said to face the same direction. Otherwise, let the entity or the player, well, that was weird, how did that happen? Let the entity or the player face the same direction that they were originally facing when teleported. That would be really cool. So cool. Because in this way we have to kind of like detect which way the player was facing and then teleport them to face that certain direction. Yeah, it's kind of annoying. But anyway, that's basically all I had for you today. You can download this. It is in the description below as a schematic for MC Edit. Also, if you want to add any mobs that you don't want to be considered bobbers, you would do the same thing as this, but with a different mob. So instead of pig, you'd type in creeper. So just copy one of these, place it over here. You can also extend the redstone line out like so, and that'll work just fine. But anyway, thanks for watching, folks. I will see you in the next one.